Hello everybody, we're on another episode of Swift Talk, and where we're going to talk about today is Ahsoka episodes 1 and 2. So if you haven't checked it out already, stop this video and go and watch it, because we are going to go into spoilers, and we're going to talk about how cool this is and how amazing everything is, and what you need to be looking out for as you're watching the show. So let's get into it.
That Swift talk.
You can't understand us, cause you're too soft.
Yeah, Dirty Coco.
So as you can see, the Ahsoka show is out. It came out, I want to believe, like last weekend or so. And when it came out, it was a big release. It was constantly running commercials and everything. And so if you look over here on Rotten Tomatoes, you're looking at an 89% with a 79% average viewership from audience score. I feel like this is pretty well balanced, coming from like a critic side of it. I can see that they've done a lot of things compared to other shows and everything that makes this great. Now, from an audience perspective, it is a slow burn. You know what I'm saying? Like, it starts off kind of slow. So, and if you haven't seen the other things, which would be Star Wars Rebels and Clone Wars, then you won't really understand what's going on as this is starting out. And if you haven't seen The Mandalorian, and if you haven't seen the Book of Boba Fett, even though I know everybody will want to see it because of how bad, the story was dealing with Boba Fett per se, even though it was basically Mandalorian Part 2.5 or 1.5, however you want to look at it, it's still worth watching and seeing her in action. So what I would say is that the score is good. I would give it a 90 so far, but I'm not going to rate the whole thing because it isn't all out yet, so there's no point. Now, when we're starting out the series, like I said, it's picking up right after Star Wars Rebels. And what happened at the end of Star Wars Rebels, going into spoilers, is Ezra Miller, this guy with this green lightsaber right here, and him and Thrawn were in an epic battle and at Lothal, which is where Ezra's from. And basically, he tapped into some unknown power with the Force, where he could use these beasts in space that could tap into the Force and move at hyperspeed in space, and they can go and travel to different galaxies and everything. So when he tapped into that, him and Thrawn went into a whole nother galaxy. So they're not even in the Star Wars galaxy or universe in a way. So they have to figure out a way to get there and find him and find Thrawn, because apparently they're still alive after all that, even though it's kind of weird that Ezra was in space with no stuff on and still breathing. But they did that in Star Wars, what was it, The Last Jedi? I can't remember. I hate that movie so much, but it's always being referenced because of the stuff that they did. But anyway, so that's what happened. They're gone. Sabine, who's on the right, that's like his girlfriend in a way, his best friend, and also Padawan friend, and she was a student with Ahsoka as well. She was teaching them the ways of the Force, especially after Ezra's master passed, when he was trying to save them and everything. So they created a bit of a bonding relationship after that point. Now basically we're going into this new story, like I said, with Ahsoka, where basically she's trying to find them. Now, she's not the only one. Now, I didn't pick up on this, and I'm going to have to rewatch The Mandalorian again when she was revealed in this time period of who this lady is that's running around here doing all of this stuff with the witches, which the witches came from the same planet that Darth Maul is from. So if anybody has seen Star Wars, I guess Clone Wars, and I think there was some stuff in Rebels as well, the witches got massacred by the Empire when they were on their rise to power and whatnot. because they were seen as a threat. And the Sith don't like nobody. They don't really care anybody. If you have power, they're going to snuff you out of it or try to control you as much as they can before they kill you and eventually take over and assimilate. Some of them will take some of those abilities, like how Moff Gideon did. Spoilers again if you haven't seen the last season of The Mandalorian, but he mixed a lot of different warriors together to create the ultimate warrior, and that was his thing, collecting power sets and collecting different parts of different cultures for battle. So I can imagine if he had kept going, eventually he would have figured out a way to use magic, which is what the witches use, which is really just the Force, but just a different way of tapping into the Force. And so she's one of them. She's a descendant. And then you got Ray Stevenson, the guy with the orange lightsaber. He's basically working for her, him and his Padawan, who used to be Jedis way back when. But the Inquisitors jacked everybody up. They kidnapped a lot of kids. They displaced a lot of kids from the Jedi Order. And so he was one of those misplaced Padawan learners. They ended up turning to, I can't necessarily say the dark side. I would say he's more so like a neutral, but he works for bad guys, if that makes sense. So he's pretty much neutral. He will F you up, but at the same time, he'll get philosophical with you on why he F'd you up. That's the best way to look at him. And Ahsoka's the same way, but that's more on the lighter side of things. She's like, okay, well, I F'd you up because of this, and, I had to do what I had to do. Had you had done this, we would have been good. That's her thing. So, and I'll help you get there if you want to work on yourself. That's her thing. So, there's a possibility we may have a cameo from Christian Hayden, who played Skywalker in the prequels, and then Obi-Wan Kenobi. Also, Obi-Wan Kenobi, they kind of redid that fight in Rebels, like I said. So, if you watch all of this stuff, you're going to get almost like reenactments of the same thing over and over again to keep it fresh in your mind that Darth Vader was supposed to be the chosen one, which he was. And, but there's the even deeper story than even him per se, because Ezra is kind of like the pinnacle of what all of that led up into, which is actually becoming one with the Force, actually learning the true beginnings and the true power of the Force. Because for what we saw in Rebels, basically if you know how to get to this one temple, you practically can control the entire universe, because you have access to time and space, which is basically what the Force is. It's the universe, basically, and you can have access to it. He could have saved his master when he did have access to it for that brief moment, but if he had done that, it would have caused a whole ripple effect of all kind of other things that happened, and he decided not to do it. But he could have. Instead, he saved Ahsoka Tano with that power, because technically she's supposed to be dead, technically. Because the temple that she was in pretty much crumbled to pieces, but he came through the portal to save her and bring her out of there just in time, and then brought her back a little bit after, the destruction of the temple that they were in, fighting Darth Vader. So that's what's going on in Rebels. Go ahead and watch all of that. It's a long, lengthy process watching all these episodes. I managed to finish this just in time because my friends are big Star Wars fans, and so I had to go and finish it. Like they kept getting on me. I was like, I can't do it because it's animated. I like live action Star Wars more than animated, but story wise is great, even though I don't really like the animation part of Star Wars. I like it when it's live action, but the story is good. So if you just like me and you like more live action-y things when it comes to stuff like this and how it was originally made, after a while it starts to pick up, and then you'll be like, all right, it's whatever, I'll just watch 2 or 3 episodes before I go to bed. And you do that for about a month, you'll get through it. And if you do Clone Wars the same way, you'll get through it, and then you'll be ready for anything else they drops in this period, which I think they got a couple of more things that may come out. I'm not exactly sure. I have to check. So then we got Clone Wars. Now Clone Wars is going to give you the full start and finish well, not start and finish. The beginning of Ahsoka Tano when she was a Padawan, all the way up until she left the Jedi Order, when she was framed for some things that she didn't do. After that, she lost all respect, or I guess you could say all trust in the Jedi Order, and she decided to leave because she realized the politics were getting bigger than the bigger picture of what they were fighting for. So she left. And after that, she honed her skills, came back, fought Darth Maul. Going into spoilers again, she beat Darth Maul. And, basically after that, nobody really heard from her until Rebels or whatever. But she's always been a rebel, technically, because she left the Jedi Order on her own. She didn't beg to stay or none of that. She was like, I'm done. Y'all don't trust me. And after all this work I put in this war and everything, which the war was rigged from the beginning because, Palpatine was playing both sides. She left, and she became basically a white Jedi or gray Jedi, however you want to call it. And yeah, so this is where you see the beginning, and then you see her move all the way up and become basically a grown master who's learned the ways of the Force. And then she comes in Rebels, and she's pretty much a master in Rebels, and she's offering her expertise to help them fight the Empire. But she couldn't beat Darth Vader, though. I can't give her that one, though. She couldn't beat him. She could have, maybe if she had a little bit more training, like where she at now, she probably could have beat him, but back then, nah. And so, she's also, like I said, in The Mandalorian. So, you can catch her in there. And then, like I said, just make sure when you're watching, pay attention to her story. And you'll understand her motivations for what she does and kind of get a better understanding of her character and everything. So that way, when you do go on Rotten Tomatoes and you give a rating, or if you do talk about the show, you'll know exactly what's going on. But this is the episode right here. If you see these pictures of the Mandalorian when she showed up, she was on this planet looking to stop this lady who was basically just terrorizing this planet or whatever. But yeah, and then she had like a Beskar spear. So I guess I'll give my rating for 1 and 2, because 1 and 2 is basically a story about Ahsoka basically understanding a new threat, which is the new people. Ray Stevenson, who plays Baylan Skoll, and the witch that they're with from the same planet as Darth Maul. Realizing the threat, and then kind of finding the artifacts that are needed in order to find how to navigate to the other galaxy that Ezra and Thrawn went to when he tapped into those Force beasts that were in space, to get him out of there, because they were gonna lose that fight if they didn't get him out of there, because dude is a strategic mastermind on the battlefield, and everything they tried really hard really didn't work as well as they thought it would have, and he tore they behind up. And so Ezra, in a last ditch effort, did whatever he could that threw him off his game and got him out of there. Now there is some speculation that Thrawn is Force sensitive. I do expect something like that to come out at some point. I wouldn't be surprised if they use any of Moff Gideon's technology to implement midichlorians inside of him to give him the power of the Force, or give him Beskar armor. I wouldn't be surprised if they power him up. So if they do have a one-on-one fight, even though that's not really his thing, he's more like a general that stands on the sidelines and lets his people do the work, and he just puts them in in position, playing chess, not checkers, because he's really good at this now. He's able to do his thing, but he do got the hands, though. He just don't got the power. He don't have the Force. So it's kind of hard for him to stand up against a Force user with no Force powers, or no Force counter weapons or anything against them, because the only thing that really works against a force user is electricity. That will burn them out, and then it'll lower their stamina. So that's it. Swift talk is supposed to be quick, and we get in, we talk about it. We gonna keep talking about it and everything in other episodes. And like I said, right now I'm gonna give it a I'm gonna say 8.5 out of 10 for me right now. Like I said, it was a little slow starting out. I hope it picks up more. If it doesn't, that's fine. I'm not gonna drag it. It's up there. It's very good quality stuff. In order for this to be great, though, it has to stick to landing. Like I said, because if you've seen Secret Invasion with the Marvel stuff, it did not do good. And then The Mandalorian, even though it was another great season, it wasn't an amazing season like the first two. So it has to stick to landing. If it sticks to landing, which it should, because Ezra and Thrawn is going to be in here at some point. They're teasing it, and they're possibly teasing more stuff in the future, outside of just this show, or maybe season 2 of this show. I don't know. We gotta see. It's gonna be crazy. Like, you gonna be hearing about people talking about this a lot. So, and I'm going to Dragon Con, so at Dragon Con, everybody's gonna be probably cosplaying this because it's out now, And I got my Star Wars cosplay. I may do it, but we'll see. So I appreciate y'all checking out this video. Go watch you some Ahsoka. Let me know how you feel about it in the comment section. You all have a great day. That's it for this video. I'll see you guys next time.